The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to share the inheritance with me." He replied to him, "Friend, who appointed me as your judge and arbitrator?" Then he said to the crowd, "Take care to guard against all greed, for though one may be rich, one's life does not consist of possessions." Then he told them a parable. There was a rich man whose land produced a bountiful harvest. He asked himself, "What shall I do, for I do not have space to store my harvest?" And he said, "This is what I shall do. I shall tear down my barns and build larger ones. There I shall store all my grain and other goods. And I shall say to myself, now as for you, you have so many good things stored up for many years. Rest, eat, drink, be merry." But God said to him, "You fool, this night your life will be demanded of you, and the things you have prepared, to whom will they belong? Thus will it be for all who store up treasure for themselves, but are not rich in what matters to God." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
On August 8th, 1996, I learned a whole lot about the Kingdom of God. I remember the date because that happens to be the feast of St. Dominic, and we were going to I was on my first mission awareness trip, and we went to the community of Santo Domingo de Guzman, St. Dominic. And it was the parish of Santo Domingo de Guzman in the town of Santo Domingo de Guzman. It was their patronal feast. They were having, the bishop came, they were having confirmation for some of the young people, first communion for some of the young people. It was a major event, and we were going to be guests. And this time of year in Central America is the rainy season, and it rained really hard the night before. And we didn't know it, but the road we were going to take was flooded. So we got to the flood, had to turn around, and we were an hour late. Here's the first lesson I learned about the Kingdom of Heaven. They waited for us. They waited an hour for us, who could basically ruin this. Would you wait 5 minutes? I mean, come on, think about it. We'd be like, where are these people? Forget about them, you know? But they waited for us. And then when we came in, they greeted us with song, like we were the guests of honor, with all these other things happening. It was amazing. After celebrating Mass with the confirmations and the communions, we were brought to tables outside, and we had a simple lunch. The church grounds were decorated simply because they were very poor. They had some balloons on the walls and some crepe paper, not a lot, but a little bit of that. And then afterwards we were invited to just spend some time with the people. Let's go to the readings for a second. Well, not for a second. Vanity of vanities is what we heard in that first reading. What is that all about? Well, remember that song, Dust in the Wind? That's kind of what it is. It's kind of saying the same thing, like nothing matters. All right? It's you could work your butt off, and you're still going to you have bills to pay, and it's just nothing you do is really going to matter. That's kind of what it's saying. It's a very cynical approach. It's kind of like this. It's like saying, so you do all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, it's gone. It doesn't matter. But you know what? It does matter. You matter. We have families here who have welcomed children into their homes and are going to be into their lives, and they're going to be baptizing them. And they're doing it because they matter. And everything you do with them matters. Well, I'll tell you, I learned more about the Kingdom of God after the Mass, after the meal. You see, there was also, they had these rides there. There was like a little bit of a roller coaster thing and something else. Nobody got on them. I think it's because they had no money, but honestly, they were pretty rickety. I wouldn't have gotten on them anyway. But they told us we had some free time to just kind of relax with the people. So what I did was I took my backpack and I leaned it up against the wall, and I just lied down and was just watching the world. And as it turned out, I started watching some kids, and they were the ones who gave me a lesson. One of the balloons from the wall fell down, and they started playing that game. We gotta just keep it up. Whoa. Oh no! Okay, they were playing that game. Let's stop because I'm not that coordinated. But they were playing that game, all right, hitting it to each other and stuff like that. But then they realized, hey, wait a minute, we got this foreigner here, this strange guy, and they started getting curious and started hitting it in my direction. And they got closer and closer, and finally it was right there, it was by my foot, and I tapped it with my foot, and it kept up in the air. And then it was like every time they hit it, they, 2 or 3 times, they hit it back to me, and I was part of the game for a while. It was amazing. They welcomed me. This stranger. We live in a world of stranger danger. No, they were like intrigued. Who is this guy? And we didn't say a word to each other. But it was a wonderful experience of the kingdom of God. Just playing. Now, we live in a world where vanity of vanities is kind of taught to us. Nothing matters, so we could become like the guy in the gospel who just wants to accumulate stuff. And that's what's going to matter. That's the way you matter. We had a couple of years ago, we had a faith formation gathering over in the gym. And as the kids were about to leave, we noticed that there was a cell phone that was just sitting there. And it was an older flip phone. And we said, there's a cell phone here, whose is it? The kid who belonged to that phone did not come and get it because he was embarrassed because of the phone. Do you want the balloon? So, but we judge each other by what we have and judge ourselves by what we have. That's a horrible thing that our world can become that cynical. But there was this really wonderful philosopher. His name was Mr. Rogers. Remember him on TV? He sang this great song. It's you I like. It's not the things you wear. It's not the way you wear your hair, but it's you I like. Take that attitude and put it on steroids, and then multiply it by about a zillion, and you're getting close to the way God values each one of us. We're important because we're loved by God. It's not vanity of vanities. It's important. The things that you do with your children are important. Playing patty cake is more important than them getting, a smartphone. Taking time to play simple games with them, taking time to just be with them and smile and all that's what matters because you matter. So the big lesson that came with it from the kids, not just with the playing of the game, the lesson came to its completion when the balloon popped. Because what they did was, they just kind of said, okay, and went on to their next thing. It wasn't a disaster. It wasn't the end of the world. It was time for them to move on. And that's how life goes. We keep on going, but we look for the presence of God in the midst of it. So, in this community, on August 8th, 1996, as they were celebrating confirmation, communion, had the bishop there, I learned about how valuable I am and how valuable everyone else is. Because we were embraced by the community when we walked in an hour late. We were embraced and they sang to us. They broke bread with us in Eucharist and then outside, and they served us first because we're valuable. Those children took the time to play with me. And they didn't know it, but they were teaching me. I have absolutely no more money in my pockets because of that experience. But I have to tell you, my heart has grown because of it. Because that's what the kingdom of God is about. Becoming rich in God's eyes. And what's important to God. And what's important to God is each one of us. And they showed me that from the minute we walked in, all the way through, even when the game was forced to end, because the balloon had popped. Because being together was an experience of the kingdom.